Hi, y'all. This is Stephanie, and I'm just going to record some of these best practices trainings that we're going to be delivering on the 16th. For those who can't see it or want to watch it again, we'll have it here. So, here we go. We're going to be kind of going over what are our main tenets of our remote learning approach. One of those being our collaborative practices, some community and relationship building, bringing that human touch into our remote learning plans, considerations for online learning because there are some things we have to adapt to in this sort of situation. And then kind of outline some of the tools of the trade, and I'll give a demo, a live demo of how this might work in a Schoology world. So, elementary folks that might be doing this to Google Docs, you can kind of think about how this might apply to Google Docs, but it will be focused in on the Schoology crowd. All right, here we go. So we've put a couple of collaborative practices into our plan, mostly to help out the staff, and that might be working in a collaborative course together. So we've developed these, collaborative courses so that our many hands and our creativity can work on Schoologizing our lessons plans and turning them into remote uh, lesson plans that'll work well. It's also there in case someone gets sick. We're not operating in our own silos. We have been developing things together. We can copy things to our own courses and we can help each other out. Or if we're unable to continue to participate, we have a place where all the other grade alikes or course alikes can kind of work together and come up with content and exercises for our students. All of these things can then just be copied to your own individual Schoology courses. So you guys will see if you're using Schoology that you might have a new course when you first log in called a collaborative course in your department or grade level. The other new thing you might see is an all staff course for your site. This is a place for the principals to practice their communication skills, to possibly host virtual meetings with breakout rooms that we might use with the Schoology conferences. The built in video conferencing in Schoology has some really nice features. Or again, they may use Google Hangouts Meet, which is super simple. But we'll have an all staff course that we can use for central things at our sites too. All right. So stay tuned for those. Now, when we get into online learning, some things you do want to think about is chunking things into smaller bites. So scaffold, don't overwhelm, maybe don't dump everything on your students, and organize it perhaps using folders. And when we get to the demo, we'll get there. KISS is real important, and of course, I want hygiene to be all on your minds. This is not KISS, but the acronym of KISS of keep it simple and sweet. Uh, there are tons of tools out there that we could be using. What we're going to be focusing on is leveraging those tools we already have, deeper ways, more creative and innovative ways to get your learning through to your students. The other thing that's different, really different in online learning, is you can't read the room. So we all have these skills of being able to sense they're not getting it. We use feedback, we use little clues, just expressions on faces, that sort of thing, to kind of do those informal or formative check for understandings. Are the students getting it? And then, of course, we pivot and do something different if necessary. We're not going to be able to do that in a remote learning situation. So, as we move into and you're developing your remote learning plans, you're going to want to build in some places where there are some checks for understanding. This could be utilizing some of those tools we often use, like Edpuzzle, a YouTube video with questions that you put in that make the kids stop and answer them before they can go and continue watching the video. That's a fun little one. Or you might use reflections or a little quiz. Um, these might not be things that are that summative or important for your grades. They might be worth nothing really, but they do telescope to the kids what's important for you for them to be getting out of the exercise. So, kind of putting in places so they can make sure they're meeting your expectations of what they're supposed to be learning and maybe giving you some feedback. The last thing consideration for online learning is you really need to communicate. I can write directions on the boards and in a class, and kids could go lots of different directions with it. I can write directions on the board and explain them, and kids can still go off task. We need to over communicate in a remote learning situation. So you're going to use some of the tools to write down and text what your expectations are, and then use Screencastify, kind of like I'm doing here, to walk kids through and show them what you're going to do. That's a really, really good tool. The other tool you might want to be using as we go into these 2 weeks plus of school closure, campus closures, is having a synchronous office hour. And if you're not ready for a synchronous tool like Schoology conferences or Google Hangouts Meet, you might also consider just putting up a discussion board in Schoology where kids could write their questions up. That way, you're not going to be bombarded by emails all day and all night while we're gone. So, over explain, Screencastify is your friend, and synchronous or places where kids can post questions, that's also going to be your friend. Protect your sanity and time too, so you're not getting hit all over the time. Okay. Community and the human touch. Like I said in my last Screencastify, putting this little picture in here, if I could put me in, is real important. The kids and staff, I know I will want connection during the stressful time. I'll want to see my colleagues. I'll miss them. You'll want to see your kids. Your kids will miss you, and they'll miss the social connection they have at school with their classmates. So your smile, your voice, it all matters. Use the Screencastify and add the little option to have it also record your webcam as you do it. I think that will really help. All right. The other thing to think about is endorphins. This is a placeholder in this draft to say you might want to create connections that aren't just academic in your remote learning plans. It might be asking the kids to post a picture of their pet or their the favorite meal that they've made during this time off, and maybe let that community talk about that. Oh, I love that. Can you share your recipe? Or it's so cool, that dog is so cute, or I love cats. Something like that to create the endorphins and let the kids still have social connection. It may take you no time at all to post up a discussion board asking them to post in their pictures or their favorite meals or something they like to do on their free time at home. But it might help create that human touch and community that they're really going to be missing if we're all hunkered down at home. All right. The other thing you could do with the human touch is, again, create that synchronous opportunity. We're going to have some training opportunities on utilizing Schoology conferences, but you can also use Google Hangouts Meet. All that information will be at the end of our continuity plan for instruction. There's some links to all that. If you're going to do a synchronous thing, keep it short. Focused, mini lessons, something like that, and maybe again engage with the kids. How are you feeling? The Schoology conference feature that's built in, it does record. You can record your synchronous opportunity. It will save into your class for 7 days. So if anyone couldn't make that time slot, they could come watch it later. It does have a feature of breakout rooms. So if I had a group, I could say put 3 or 4 kids in these little individual breakout rooms, and you have 10 minutes to discuss this. And I can go in and listen to see how they're doing. But it gives them a chance to talk amongst themselves. How cool is that? There are also whiteboard apps, so you could like draw and they could see almost like a screen. So all I would say, Schoology conferences is new for us. We're still learning it, but it seems kind of fun. All right. If you're going to do a synchronous thing, you don't want to offer a synchronous thing when your colleague 2 doors down at home or whatever is also offering at the same time and creating a conflict for your kids. Whose synchronous activity do I go to? So we've kind of created this modified sort of weekly schedule to play out where you have each period has kind of a broad slot session that you can use anyway, kind of as just protecting your time if you want to do a synchronous activity. So Monday mornings at 8:30 to 11:30, anytime on that. If you're a period 1 teacher, if you offer a synchronous opportunity, it won't conflict with anybody else. You'll also see I put in some slots for office hours if you wanted to do just an office hour drop-in, or that counselors, wellness, resource, they can additionally use those times too, and maybe not conflict with any regularly scheduled programming if you wanted to offer a synchronous opportunity. Again, these are really great. Kids can see each other. You can communicate back and forth them. It might be a great opportunity to continue that connection during our closure. All right, we're about to get to our demo time. Just want to talk about some of the tools of the trade. We have Screencastify. It's a web-based um, webcam and screen recorder. It is turned on and installed already for all of you and students in your Chrome browser. If you're logged into your Chrome browser or if you're on a Chromebook, you will see it up here in your extension bar. So it's there. Kids could use it. You could ask them to record themselves talking, either just their webcam or their webcam in a slide or some writing, anything you want, but they can use it too and turn it into. The other thing I want to demo is updates announcements, how you can use that in Schoology. What's good about the updates and announcements, again, that over communicating, is that those updates go out via email to students. If they have that notification turned on, they'll get an email of it too. And it goes into the weekly email that parents get if they decided to opt into the notifications. So keeping those parents kind of aware of what's going on in your class, I think will alleviate a lot of their fears too. I'm going to demo some how you might want to organize your content and your activities, your remote learning activities in Schoology. So I'm going to demo some best practices there you might want to consider that really utilize the chunking and scaffolding features that I was talking about. Of course, if you're developing this with your grade alikes or course alikes in your collaborative course, you can divvy up the work. I'll do this activity, you do that activity. We'll put it in the collaborative course and we'll copy the whole thing to our active course. I'll do a quick demo of that. I'll show you where Schoology Conferences is. We might be best demo this in person. And then, of course, there is Google Meet. I'm not going to demo that because we're not even, we're just a screencastifying this. So it's I'm not going to be able to get anyone to join me. All right, let me flip over. And we're back. I've switched over here to our flexible plan for instructional continuity. And one of the pages on here, I kind of talk about some best practices of organizing your guided activities. So I suggest that you have some sort of overview where you explain the objectives, activities. If you can do that in student-facing language, that's really good. Just kind of an overview of your expectations in the activity. And then the students will engage with some sort of content. This could be read the textbook. It could be watch a video. It could be watch a video I've made in Screencastify. You can do all sorts of things like that. This content may be shared in Schoology for 6 through 12, and at the elementary, that might be in a Google Doc, at a shared grade level Google Doc. And then you might want to consider various engagement opportunities. So it could be old school, like read the textbook and answer the questions at the end of the chapter in your composition book, or it can be more techie, depending on there's lots of options here. But give them something to chew on, give them something to reflect or do something with. I do have a bunch of other tools in here, so you can use all sorts of tools here. And here are some places where you can get some of this content already done ahead of time and drop it in for them to work with. When you do engagement, you have some asynchronous tools and you have some synchronous tools if you wanted to do something all together. And of course, there's the non-tech tools. I'm going to switch over to, if it will let me. All right, we're in our Schoology world here, and I'm actually on the collaborative course. These collaborative courses, again, were set up for departments to develop content, Schoologize kind of your remote learning activities here together, and then copy it to your own courses. But using this together allows us, if someone is sick, to copy content over to their course later. It helps us to leverage the creativity of our classmates and that sort of thing. So please do utilize these. It's part of our approach to help deal with this crisis. So I'm in a collaborative course right now. In it, I'll see kind of a sample that Debbie, Adam, and I have put together for you that hopefully speaks to some of these best practices that we're hoping to see in our remote learning. So inside of this, I have a sample weekly assignment folder. This could be English 1, 2, it could be math, But inside of it, how we've got it organized, I think, is what we're really want to walk through right now. So we have lessons for the week of March 16th. I have a discussion board. Have any questions or need help from a classmate that students can help each other out, kind of using our hive mind. So that's there for kids. And the other thing that I have going on here is a folder for next week. So I'm not just throwing up the kids all the work that they're going to be doing over this next 2 weeks. I'm not just vomiting it on them all at once. So inside the lessons for the week of March 16th, I do have kind of folders with information in them with the activities for each day. At the high school level, you guys meet 3 times a week, so I have kind of 3 little chunks. Make it very digestible for students and understandable about pacing and how much work this should take, mirroring what we were doing in person. So, inside of each might be directions and some content. In this case, I have some directions and I embedded a little uh, video in here. So, I want the kids to watch this video, think about it, and then engage with it. In this way, I'm going to have them engage with a Schoology discussion. This is your asynchronous classroom discussion. This is the discussion board for them. In this case, I tried to be real specific about what we wanted them to do, write 5 sentences, do this by 5 p.m. on Thursday, and then come back and respond to other classmates. So that's kind of the activity for day 1. Now, a lesson for day 2 might be, in this case, an Edpuzzle video. The Edpuzzle videos have embedded questions. It's a YouTube video, and you can ask whatever questions you want, and the kids can't move on in the video until they do answer the questions correctly. There'll be directions on how to do Edpuzzle in our flexible plan for instructional continuity. We'll have a bunch of resources there for you to get into the details. In lesson 3 for the week, I have a little bit more going on and a little Schoology quiz. I can tell by the icon here. That's a check for understanding. Again, telescoping to the students what I found important for them to learn in this week of activities. All right, now the last thing I have on this is just a page, and before all the lessons, this is just a blank page, and it's a placeholder for me to put some of my Schoology screencasts. So I might do what we just did here and walk them all through this and put it in there. Again, I'm over communicating by giving them some directions on each page, and I'm going to walk through with my human touch, walk through what's important and show my video there. So if I have this kind of placeholder for that, I can edit this page. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert some content, a media or image. It's going to be a web image, and it's going to be not just an image, but a video. And I need an embed or a link code. So hopefully you guys will follow me over here. And I have a bunch of screencasts. And which one is it going to be? I think it's going to be this one. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get this embed code. So I recorded this earlier. This is like Martha Stewart putting in the casserole and now pulling out the one that's already done. So I've already cooked this one, and I'm trying to get this code to come up. Get the embed code. Oh, did it come up? It says it's copied to clipboard. Let's see if it actually goes. So I'm going to come over. Oh, yeah. Okay, copy. And I'm going to go to here, and I'm going to paste this in with my V and insert the media. When I insert it, this is the placeholder. You can't see the video right now. It'll show up when we publish the page, but this is the placeholder for it. And if I hit save right now, I'll have a little page with my video in it explaining what I want the kids to do. Another little trick you might want to do on this page is this guy right here in Schoology. You want it to say, be kind of lit up like that and display in line. So it's on display in line. When I do that, you don't even have to open the page up. In Schoology, it's just going to pop open all by itself. So let's see if this works. All right, so here's my Screencastify explaining the expectations of students so they can understand what I really want them to do this week. And I can give it to them orally, which much more detail than they would ever read. So now when I look at this whole folder for the week, I've got this page. It's showing up in line. You don't even have to open it to see the video, and then my lessons underneath. All right. If I was super fly, what I might be doing with my partner is planning the lessons for the next week. When I copy that to my course, copy to courses, or in this case, maybe this whole folder here, copy to courses, and I would pick my courses that I wanted to send it to. I can put it in my section. One thing I could also do if I edit any of these folders, especially ones for the next week, maybe I don't want to see them right away. I can say show up on the 23rd. I could make them now, say to show up on the 23rd, and copy them over, and I'm all set. And that means on Sunday night or whatever, I don't have to worry about turning them back on. So I've chunked them. I have a discussion board to kind of help each other. I've added that human touch with this and my Screencastify, and I've got kind of content and engagement. So that's kind of what we're looking for. Now, other things that you can do is an update. So if you come over here to updates, you can create a little message that goes to everybody. You can fill this out. I'll just reuse this one from before, okay? Just pretend like it wasn't there. All right, I'm going to say, hey, remember, I'll be in a conference. You guys can join in on me. If I say post, it goes into updates. It goes into their front page of Schoology. It goes to them in an email. It goes into the parent email if the parents get the email. One thing you can do, a little trick, is right here next to post, you can hit this little Dingle Bell School Bell. And what it'll do when you post it is it'll make it an announcement. And it shows up at the top of your page whenever you're in Schoology. So let's see if it flips over. See how this little announcement? So when they come in, they'll see that at the top. And you can just remove it and add another one. So you would just go to updates again, maybe next week or a couple of days later. If you had something you wanted to share with them, you can write in here. And again, the little trick is to check this little bell. All right. And then it will pop up to the top. So that's really cool. So I hope that helps, gives you some ideas of how you can organize your course content. Again, chunk it up, content, engagement, human touch, develop this together in your collaborative course. And then you could take the whole folder if you want, or do it kind of week by week and copy it over to your courses. I think you'll be in good shape. All right. Good luck. We'll be available if you need us. Put in a ticket at help at Piedmont. I will also send out some words, some drop-in office hours, so I can help you, and all of us on the kind of the ed tech team can help you out in any of this work going forward.